What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Celtics Daily with me, Mike Zakarian. We're continuing to cruise into the offseason as the Celtics aren't playing playoff basketball anymore, but we did get a couple of positive updates. A little bit more speculation and rumors that we can dive into, but we're starting with some, I think, good news from our guy Jaylen Brown. Some good reporting from Noah over the weekend that attended JB's event. Jaylen Brown made it sound like he's going to be focusing on the rest versus the surgery, right? We know that he was battling what we thought was a bone bruise late in the regular season at the beginning of the postseason. Turns out, after they were eliminated, it comes out that it was a partially torn meniscus, and that made it sound like he was going to be going under surgery to get that repaired, but it actually sounds like he's not going to have to do that, which is really good news for ramping up, right? When we get close to the preseason and the offseason, the fact that he is not like figuring out how his body works again after going under the knife and having surgery, this is actually a pretty good sign, so hopefully it allows JB to just kind of relax, get recharged, and ready to go for a new season, because again, without our guy Jason Tatum, you are absolutely going to need Jaylen Brown, even though some of you haters out there are going to say you don't need JB as he's getting floated around in some trade rumors. You're going to need Jaylen Brown there. JB wants to be in Boston. I want him to be in Boston, and I want him to be healthy. So I'm excited for the Celtics to hopefully compete under JB's leadership starting next season. Speaking of Tatum, though, we did get an update from our guy JT, and it's not about health. It's because he's made yet another first-team All-NBA. And not only first-team All-NBA, he received all 100 available points in voting for first team, not a single vote for second team All-NBA. And he was along with three other people that all received 100 of 100, with the fifth guy not getting there. He's joined by Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Bucks, the two MVP candidates in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Thunder and Nikola Jokic from the Nuggets, Tatum, and then Donovan Mitchell, who got 61 first team votes. Those are your top five first team All-NBA. Second team, a couple of old heads, couple of youngins. We got Anthony Edwards, 40-year-old LeBron James, 37-year-old Stephen Curry. Then you got Evan Mobley and Jalen Brunson. And then third team All-NBA, congrats to Cade Cunningham. He's made an All-NBA team. He now gets to secure a bag. Karl Anthony Towns is in there. Tyrese Halliburton, J-Dub, Jalen Williams of the Thunder, and then James Harden. All right, Harden from the Clippers rounds out the All-NBA teams. The congrats to the Cavs, who got two guys on there, right, in Mobley and Mitchell. The Knicks, who got two guys in there in Brunson and Cat, and then the Thunder with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams. But congrats to Tatum, man. I believe that's his fourth consecutive first-team All-NBA. That is not done often. That is a pretty rare feat for the young guy. So even though he won't be playing basketball anytime soon, at least he gets to know first-team All-NBA. But back to JB, and I'm going to include Derek White in this. We got some reporting, I believe, on Friday that it sounds like the Celtics are going to do whatever they can to keep both Jaylen Brown and Derek White. This is according to Brett Siegel, who I believe was Brett Siegel Clutch Points. Yes, at Clutch Points, said the Celtics are not expected to move Derek White or Jaylen Brown. And that kind of lines up with where I thought they were going. I thought the writing was clearly on the wall that it was either going to be Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, or one of those two that gets moved this offseason or at the beginning of next season, because that's probably their most efficient way in cutting some salary. I know the Jaylen Brown stuff has been out there. I know a couple of teams have shown a ton of interest in Derek White, and of course that makes sense. Derek White's a little bit younger, contract a little bit easier to swallow, right? Versus Porzingis and Holiday, who both were kind of battling either injuries or slower years this season, a little bit older with more injury risk, where Derek White, not so much, pretty durable. And of course, Jaylen Brown, fringe All-NBA, All-Star player, right? Even though his contract's a little bit bigger, you know what you're getting, an All-Star wing, right? So of course, teams would be more interested in that. But the Celtics have seemed to have come out and said, no, we're not going full blow it up mode. So I do expect that they move off of some of those other guys, but it does sound like JB and Derek White are going to be a part of the core heading into the 2025-2026 NBA season, which is good news. I don't want to go full tank mode. I'm not there, all right? I'm not ready for a full rebuild. I like competing, all right? I don't want to turn into the Charlotte Hornets or the Utah Jazz. No disrespect, Danny Ainge, not interested what's going on over there. But speaking of the guys that we think might get moved, right? Kristaps Porzingis being one of them. A couple of different interesting reports that I think are fun here. So apparently a team that has always been in the old Zanger, Kristaps Porzingis, is the Golden State Warriors. Now, anytime there's a Warriors report, it's kind of hard to take it seriously because they do a really good job of, I don't know, massaging the media, I will say, right? There was the reports that they're like, oh, maybe Kuminga for Derek White. Who says no? I say no. That's who says no, me. But it was Brett Siegel again for Clutch Points saying that the Golden State Warriors have long been viewed as a potential destination for Porzingis even before he joined. Now, I'm not the biggest Kuminga guy in the world. I think his value probably is somewhere in between what he thinks it is and what Steve Kerr thinks it is. Steve Kerr is kind of doing a media tour right now, just bashing a guy. Never really a good sign when a pretty mild-mannered, measured coach like Steve Kerr is just outwardly crushing you to the media. Not really helping his own case, right? Because the assumption here is Kuminga signs with the Warriors and then immediately gets traded. I can't understand why he's crushing the value so much. But if you told me we were flipping, and I don't know if the money works 100%, but somebody like Porzingis for a Kuminga, I don't hate that. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Though my biggest concern here is that Kuminga seems to, again, think maybe he's a little bit better than he is, or not even that, but that he doesn't necessarily understand his role within the team. But dude, a rangy wing like that who can defend from time to time, can actually like take over a game. I don't hate that idea. I mean, especially next season. I think it's a trickier fit if he thinks he's the guy when Tatum comes back. I don't know how I mean, I guess there's a lineup where you could do some really fun stuff. If they wanted to get weird to play Tatum at the 5, Kuminga at the 4, JB at the 3 with Pritchard and White. I mean, I feel like that would be a lot of fun. But then you can even get a little bit bigger than that and still have your main center with Tatum at the 4, JB or Kuminga at the 3, JB at the 2. I don't know. There's different things you can do there. And if you know you are moving off of Porzingis for financial reasons and you got to take somebody back, I don't hate this idea. And I would be happy for Porzingis to go to a place where he could still compete, because if KP is going to be on, I appreciate what he did for Boston. He was beloved by the fans. He loved to be in here. So I don't want him to go to the aforementioned Utah Jazz, right? Another landing spot that I saw some rumblings about, and I'm curious what people think about this one, is there a world where you get on the phone, on the horn with the Phoenix Suns, and it's probably going to be Porzingis, maybe one other smaller piece, and a pick, because I think Phoenix would only do this to get some picks back, right, for a Kevin Durant? I don't know. I feel like that's a little interesting. I mean, I guess like if you're KD and you want to go compete somewhere right away, I don't know if going to Boston, although I don't know, you put KD on that team, I feel like they're a little spicy in the Eastern Conference, right? I don't know. I think that's a little bit fun. I haven't like figured out how exactly the math works on that one. But if you take out Porzingis and say like, I don't know, a Hauser or a Cornet. I don't know what the other piece would be, and then a first-round pick. I mean, KD is still putting up all NBA numbers, right? I know Phoenix was a straight-up dumpster fire, but if you just Google Phoenix Suns organization, I don't know if you put that dumpster fire, that toxic energy completely or even a little bit on Kevin Durant. KD has done nothing but hoop since he got there, and you look at the team that was surrounded by that, by KD and Devin Booker. I mean, Bradley Beal, $50 million to just kind of like be a sixth man. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of Grayson Allen, a lot of Mason Plumlee or Miles Plumlee or Mark Plum. I can't remember which Plum dog it was. I think you put KD in a different environment, with an infrastructure that has been set. And I know people have mixed feelings on KD. I'm here for it, though. I'm here for it. I would be very open to Porzingis for Kevin Durant. Again, there would be more pieces. It depends how many picks are involved. But I don't know. It's exciting. It's exciting. That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm trying to talk myself into this year being a good year. Last but not least, Jrue Holiday. So there were some more rumblings here that the Sacramento Kings are interested in Holiday and Jrue Holiday, right? This is reported by Sam Amico here over from Hoops Wire. And this reporting was it doesn't really say what this would look like. So I don't know how much we read into it. We are at the point in the season, right, where like different owners and GMs just like talk to media people and be like, you know who I used to like in 2009, right? They just like say a name, and then all of a sudden we're doing videos about it being like, oh, what's the fit look like for Jrue in Sacramento? I mean, Sacramento is in a weird spot. where they have these aging guys, no disrespect, and DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis I wouldn't say is aging, but like is in win now mode. Zach LaVine, they have to decide if they're going to pay Keegan Murray a whole bunch of money, right? And so there is a world where it makes sense for them to like get guys like Drew Holiday, which is going to make the team better. And this is not to disparage Drew, because I love Drew Holiday. I think he's great. I don't know, like, I mean, I guess when's the last time the Kings have made a good decision anyways? But like I don't necessarily think Drew Holiday being put in with that crew all of a sudden makes them contenders in the West. I mean, if you like you look around at that Western Conference, I mean, what we're seeing in OKC and Minnesota, outside of Minnesota deciding they're not going to spend money, both of those teams are going to be there next season and probably a little bit better. Denver's still going to be there. The Clippers are still going to be there. The Lakers are going to have Luka in shape next season, hopefully, knock on wood. There's a lot of question marks for sure in teams like the Grizzlies, but now you have the Warriors, who, again, the second half of the regular season were like a pretty dominant team, and I know they flamed out in the playoffs after the Steph Curry injury, but like the Rockets are still going to be there. The Spurs are going to get better, and I don't know if the Kings are looking at the mirror being like, man, if we just had Drew Holiday, 55 wins. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Drew Holiday helps you light the beam a little bit more. I also don't know what would be included in the move. Like, what would the Celtics get back in that scenario? Is it just like filler? Is it, like three dudes to like make up their, is it like Trey Lyles? And again, like, I don't know what they're going to do with Keegan Murray, if they're going to pay him, because it's almost time for that. And Keegan Murray, like, I thought was in a really good spot at the beginning of this season. And then after some of the moves they made, I don't know. And they don't even really have a true point guard, right? Malik Monk is a sixth man. I mean, Keon Ellis, I think, is a really solid defender, but they haven't really filled the spot of De'Aaron Fox being traded to the Spurs. I think one other name that we could pay attention to as we get to the offseason is Lonzo Ball of the Chicago Bulls, who started to like finally health-wise look right down the stretch. And he wasn't playing major minutes, right? They were just kind of keeping him in that like 24 to 26 range. But again, if he's able to move around a little bit better. The three ball still falls. He can still defend. Really good playmaker. Like, I wonder if Lonzo, to me, that makes a little bit more sense with the Kings, because then they're just going to run back that entire Chicago Bulls team. But I could see Lonzo being an interesting piece. And even, I don't know, maybe the Celtics throw some cold hard cash at him. But that's the updates for now. Good news on Jaylen Brown. Seems like no surgery. Derek White, JB look like they're staying put. And then the Porzingis and Drew Holiday, like rumor mill, get ready, baby. It's like we're juniors in high school just whispering in the hallway about the sweet, sweet gossip. Like, is it going to be Kevin Durant? I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun, though. But long way to go in the offseason. In the meantime, we're just going to root against the New York Knicks as they have a game coming up here. Let's go Pacers, baby. Let's go Pacers. Thanks for tuning in. Before you get out of here, do me a favor. Smash the subscribe, hit the little notification bell, and we will see you next time.